And speaking of voting, that was one of the primary issues at the recent March on Washington in August. And we have a guest, Kyra Stephenson Valley. You may have heard her speak there at the March on Washington. Kyra is the policy advisor at the National Action Network, and she uses her platform to mobilize the vote and educate voters. And I'm saying Kyra, but is it Kyra or Kyra?
It's Kyra.
Kyra. Okay, I just want to make sure I said it correctly. Welcome to Win TV.
Thank you. Thank you so much for having me.
My pleasure. So let's talk about, the work that you're doing in organizing voter participation. What are some of the things that you've been involved with besides nationally speaking and national platforms?
So, of course, we had our March on Washington through National Action Network under the leadership of Reverend Al Sharpton and Martin Luther King III. And the big pushes there were, of course, to get out the vote. All of the tickets that everybody received to enter the march had a QR code that would allow attendees to check their voter registration status. And the policies we were pushing for, one of them was the John Lewis Voter Rights Advancement Act. So we're big on voting. We're really big on getting out the vote. We've recently launched NAN's Voter Brigade, which people can join by going to National Action Network's website, which is www.nationalactionnetwork.net, which not only empowers people to vote for themselves, but empowers them to be good shepherds in their community and help people get to the polls.
And so, what is your message to American voters or to Americans? Why is it important for you that they vote?
I think this summer we've definitely seen a lot of people take to the streets, fighting to be heard by a democracy that was never really intended to hear them. And it was interesting because I've been protesting every day since the George Floyd protest started. And a lot of the people who were in the streets with me were saying, I'm really energized to be out here in March, but I don't feel energized by the election. And so my message to people like that would be that voting is actually a huge part in getting what we need. We need to go from demonstration to legislation so we can have public policies nationally that we can rely on that will protect our interests. Right now in this election, we have justice on the ballot. We have our civil rights protections on the ballot. Our right to vote is on the ballot. Our healthcare is on the ballot. Our schools are on the ballot. If you're a young person like me and you're really interested in your student loans, that is also on the ballot. So I would just definitely encourage everyone to vote. We're at a crossroads, and this election is very important for all of us and for the generations that have not even been born yet. So vote, join the 65 million people who've already voted. We see this as October as voting month and November 3rd as the end of voting, not election day, but the end of elections. And then being prepared, as Attorney Street just said, that the election will not be decided on November 3rd necessarily. We probably won't see results until much later, but just making sure that we're getting out the vote.
I just want to ask too, because I mean, you've kind of walked the path, or you've given us a path from demonstrations to the ballot box, and I'm sure you all are thinking now, as far as strategies concerned, what comes after, because I always say voting is the beginning of the process. Then there's more. So, what are you telling people? Not only is it important to vote, because they can't just put a ballot in a box and then think they're done, or maybe they do. But what are you saying?
Yeah, I completely agree. I think the vote is step one. And step two is making sure that you are staying engaged with your elected officials. A lot of the people who are running for office are running to represent you. And what we say all the time in my role as a policy advisor at National Action Network is you can't legislate on behalf of people that you don't speak to. So it's very important that you stay engaged with your members. You join maybe a political home, a political organization that aligns with your interests so you can make your voice heard and you have more people who are supporting you when advocating for issues. if there's anything when you're researching candidates that you don't feel completely clear on, feel free to take to social media and just message your representative, whoever's running and wants your vote to represent you, whether it's in Congress, whether it's the presidency, or even like a school board seat, a council member seat. Feel free to reach out to them and create a dialogue so you're clear on what their positions are and you know that they actually intend to represent you as best possible. And even if the candidate who eventually gets elected isn't the one that you wanted, they still represent you. So continue to keep that dialogue up and make sure that they know what you want to see by calling their office, emailing their office, showing up at their town halls, and just making sure that your voice is heard throughout the entire process.
Kyra, I want to thank you so much. I mean, such not only wise words, but great instructions to our viewers. And like I said, you told it like it is at the March on Washington, and you continue to do so. I really am grateful that you had some time to spend with us today and to communicate that message. Again, as I tell all of our guests, feel free, you have a home here at the Informer. And so not only the social media platform, but reach out to us, as we continue to walk down this path of social justice, particularly for communities of color. So thanks again for joining us.
Thank you so much for having me. And if anyone has any questions, I hope they feel free to message me on Instagram. I always respond. It's at Kyra Valley.
Wonderful. All right. Thanks. Fantastic.